Hello ladies and gentlemen. Now I wanted to make this video a couple of weeks ago actually, but there was a chance that Michael Chandler was going to face one of the guys in the main event of UFC 254. Fortunately, that didn't happen, and I had my fears that that was going to happen, but everything went well. I'm pretty sure that was more just UFC trying to push Chandler than anything else. Obviously, it's nice to have a backup plan, knowing that a top level guy can replace either fighters, but obviously would have made the event much less entertaining. And knowing how it ended, like, we're really glad that didn't have to happen. And yeah, that was more of a marketing thing, just to make UFC fans more aware of Chandler, which was awesome, which was a great decision, and I'm glad that more and more fans are aware of the guy known as Michael Chandler. So today I'm gonna discuss why these two fights I think make a ton of sense. That is Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler and Gaethje versus Poirier 2. So I know that the talks are that McGregor is likely to face Poirier next. I don't know why, but I just have a gut feeling that that's not going to happen. Usually with McGregor, the fight that makes the most sense, the most obvious one, doesn't pan out, and then a random one like against Cowboy turns up, and yeah, it just seems to make too much sense for it to happen. Just McGregor fights kinda are that way. But yeah, so this fight, on paper, they're both as even as it gets. Their records are practically identical. Chandler has, let's see here. Chandler has 21 wins and 5 losses. Conor has 22 wins and 4 losses. Now, McGregor's wins are undoubtedly more impressive. Most of his career has been in UFC, and Chandler hasn't had one fight in UFC. That said, the latter part of Chandler's career looks much better than Conor's. And I mean, he lost, 3 out of 4 of his last fights, or something like that, including Floyd Mayweather. And the previous fight that he won was against Cowboy, which, I mean, I guess looking at how well Cowboy did in his last fight and how quickly Conor got rid of him, that kind of makes it more impressive than it seemed that night. That night, you just thought that Cerrone was off or whatever. But yeah, these are the previous wins. And yeah, Chandler would be a big threat on the ground for McGregor. And that's something that Conor could prove to the fans, that he has improved after Khabib's fight. If he could out-grapple, out-wrestle or whatever Chandler, that would perhaps give fans hope that in a parallel universe, if he were to face Khabib again, that he would actually have a chance. So yeah, on paper, the fight makes a ton of sense, and I think more than McGregor versus Poirier. Now, another point for this fight to happen is that Conor likes super fights. It's as simple as that. That's why he fought Floyd Mayweather. That's why he's talking about these exhibition fights. He likes it to be a spectacle. And this definitely would be one. He also would get so many bragging rights if he were to win this one. Like, he constantly talks how he's champ. Although he kind of stopped with those talks. I feel like it's because so many other fighters became champions in multiple divisions. That's why Conor doesn't feel as special. But now, I mean, he would be a champ in sort of multiple organizations to some extent. So that would definitely elevate him. And I feel like Dana would prefer this fight more, just because he would do 2 good things for the organization, UFC that is. First, it would devalue Bellator, and that's one of Dana's, that's what Dana likes to do. And another one is just UFC and Dana especially, they want Conor to be the champ. And I feel like this is the closest path for him becoming a champ. And in addition, McGregor hates being seen as weak. In the recent past especially, after he's lost quite a few fights. The narrative is often the most important part of his fights, and this one would definitely, in my opinion, have a bigger narrative. McGregor would make it so that it has a bigger narrative than the potential fight against Poirier. And yeah, especially if he were to step up, face a Bellator champion, a guy who's currently unranked, and who knows if he were to get a bump in the rankings, McGregor himself, if he were to win. And it just would make fans, it would make it more difficult to call McGregor a coward, and that's one thing that he's trying to avoid. So again, Poirier vs McGregor makes a ton of sense. I just have a feeling that's not going to pan out, and if it doesn't, or I just want to bring another perspective that it's not the only fight that makes sense. There are many fights in the lightweight division, especially after Khabib vacated his belt. So many fighters that no one knew about started talking, started going public, and yeah, it's just so many awesome fights to make. This is an exciting time. It really is. So this the first fight that I want to talk about. The second one is Gaethje vs Poirier for the second time. I feel like that fight is even more obvious. Both fighters have improved tremendously. They've fixed all the holes in the game. Gaethje wants to correct the record. He's been talking about this fight even during the promotion of his fight against Khabib. He said once he beats Khabib, which turns out he didn't, he wants to fight Poirier next. And who's stopping them to battle it out right now? Their fighting styles are quite similar. They make it tremendously interesting and entertaining for the audiences. So I just think this would be an awesome fight. I think it'd be one of the 5 wars that Gaethje said he still has left in him, and they could promote it like that. I feel like that would definitely make more fans want to watch it. The only downside that I can come up with is that both of them are really nice guys, and obviously one of them would have to lose. But yeah, I feel like these fights just make slightly more sense. But again, lightweight division has never been more exciting. There are great fighters, and no matter which way you throw them in there, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be awesome. I just feel like no one's talking about these particular matchups, and they seem to make a ton of sense. But these are just my reasons why I think Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler and Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier makes a ton of sense, more than the fights that people are currently talking about. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do let me know in the comment section down below. Alright, I'll catch you in the next one, folks. Bye.